Welcome back to another Private Pilot vlog, and thank you to all my new subscribers. And please give this video a thumbs up if you like this, as it helps the YouTube algorithm. Now today, something a little bit different to my normal vlogs. Today we have an A319 A320 captain, Iris Khan, joining us. Welcome, Iris.
Hi, thank you.
How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, we're really good. We're just enjoying life at home at the moment, not flying. So yeah, living the dream.
So thank you for joining me today. I asked my Instagram followers what they would like to know about you and your job and hints and tips. So I put a poll out there. We've had a huge response, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions, if you don't mind, if that's okay.
No, wonderful. I can't wait. The only thing I was afraid about is that no one would have a question. So I'm really happy that people actually took the time to send in some questions to you.
So my first question is, how did you start in aviation?
Well, I wanted to be a pilot from when I was 6 years old. And then through my teenage years, I was a bit searching and thinking, oh, do I still really want this? And then I went to flying school straight out of high school, Dutch flying school. Theory in the Netherlands, flying in Portugal. And I hated flying school massively. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And I was terrified in those tiny planes. And when it was over, when I did my first solo flight, I was really terrified. I was terrified. Alone in a tiny plane in Portugal, you know, where it's really hot most of the time, and then the winds and the thermals, and it was just like ding 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 around Portugal, and it was just like, oh my God, shoot me now, I'm never gonna be enjoying this. And then I finished flying school and I got my first job, and from that moment I really started to love it and enjoy it until, well, today. Even though I haven't been flying now for some time, I really love it, and I'm so happy that I decided to go for it.
And did your parents support your choice of becoming a pilot?
Yes, very much. My parents always said, choose whatever you want to choose, but do something that gives you the chance to support yourself, you know, so that you're never financially dependent on anyone else. So, and my dad wanted to be a pilot when he was younger, but well, it never happened. So they were really excited. They've always been really supportive. And I think also in the times that I didn't believe in myself, they always stood behind me and supported me through that. So it's mostly because of them that I finished it and went for it in the end.
Fantastic. Slightly off question, really, or off the flow of the question, but someone's asked what airport has the best ground crew. Obviously, you've flown to loads of destinations.
Oh, I might know who asked that question. So definitely Gatwick. If I'm right, definitely Gatwick. No, I do really enjoy the interaction with the ground crew and stuff. I really enjoy that. The social part of it and the personal thing of it. And because Gatwick is my base, and you see so many people all the time, almost every day, I'd have to say Gatwick, definitely. There's some lovely boys and girls working in the ground crew that I'm always genuinely happy to see.
Oh, that's cool. And another question from a different person, but I think you might know this person as well. Who's your favourite dispatcher? Do you have a favourite? Are you allowed to say?
Oh, am I allowed to say? Well, it's a boy. I know who that is. It's him.
Okay. As a female pilot, how did you find your training and rise to captaincy in a male-dominated environment?
I never made a big deal out of the fact that I'm female, and I noticed that if you don't do that, other people don't do that. So it's been, I've always been one of the boys, and I've always behaved like that. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy working with the men. They've always been very respectful to me, also because I've never played the silly girl, you know. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional, and it's I would say it shouldn't matter, but it doesn't matter, because that's how I present myself and how I go to my job. I have to say that it does depend on countries. For my second company I worked for in Greece, they had a bit more difficulty with it, because there aren't many female pilots, and especially back then. I started there. God, I'm getting old. I started there about 9 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even, and then it was quite a thing. But because I always stayed very close to myself, it did take some time, but they did accept me in the end. And now it's like it's a non-thing. It's a thing for other people, but for me, it's not. I love it.
And just as a question for me, really, do you have any advice for other girls that want to get into aviation that might still find a bit of a stigma about, being a girl pilot? Have you got any advice?
That it's all in your head. It's all in your head. In a country like the UK, or in any European country now, if you want to do this, your gender is irrelevant, And sometimes when you have trainers that are a bit older and not used to it, you might initially feel that a little bit, but you're in your own way if you let that get to you, if you let that affect you. Just stand for who you are and don't let it matter. It only matters if you let it matter.
And obviously recently you became a captain, so congratulations. Not so long ago. Was it about a year ago now?
Yes. What was it? February 2019.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's over a year ago. Yeah, thank you. It's the best thing I have ever done. I absolutely love being a captain.
Well, someone's actually asked the question, do you prefer being a captain than a first officer? And I guess really, what is the difference?
The difference is that at the end of the day, everything's my fault. So all the responsibility is mine. The buck stops with me. And I think the biggest thing for me is that I can set the tone of the day. So, and I'm always Iris. I'm just, the same as I am at home, as I'm at work. So I go to the table, and if you treat everyone, so you go to a briefing table before your flight, and if you treat everyone with respect and with an open mind, you'll get that back from people. And just, it cost me less energy, because as a first officer, I was really trying to feel the person next to me, and then, trying to make them feel at ease. But now I feel that everyone just feels at ease because I can decide how it goes, which is lovely. Yeah, that's the best thing. I've always loved my job, but now being a captain, I'm properly loving it.
Another question from a training perspective. At this current time, what do you think the best route for a pilot coming in to be a commercial pilot would be? Would it be modular or integrated? And did you go the integrated route, or were you modular?
I went to a proper integrated flying school. So there was no guarantee of a job, but you did your theory for the year, and then you went to do the flying thing. And of course now that was 14, 15 years ago. So lots of things have changed, but I still think that now that is the best way to go, if you can afford it, of course. I mean, it costs a lot of money. You need the support from your family. But I still think that is the safest way. Because it's such an investment, you do need some kind of thing to hold on to, like a hope that you get a job in the end. And I just think that is easier. So I would go now to integrated course still. I wouldn't have changed that.
So what motivated you when you wanted to be a pilot? What motivated you through your training to become a pilot? Was there any key factors that motivated?
My family. My family. And the thing that I thought, I started this, so now I have to finish this. And I'm so happy I did that, because if I would have stopped, and then now I would be something completely different, and I would probably still be happy, but not as happy as I am now that I did it, that I in the end managed to get myself together and make something of it. I'm really happy that I did that. Yeah, so that is mostly to thank, my family is mostly to thank for that.
So another question, was it, when you became captain, was it weird or was it hard changing from a side stick on the right hand side to the left hand side? Was that hard, or was it weird, or?
Oh, it was so weird, and it was really hard. I never do anything with my left hand. Well, I never used to do anything with my left hand, and I just felt like driving a car on the other side of the road. When I moved to the UK, you know, my steering wheel was on the wrong side from me, and then I had to drive on the left side of the road. And when I entered a roundabout, I was just like, oh, let's just be over, and exited really fast. And I had that feeling as well when I started to sit in the left seat, like, oh my God, you know, can I actually do that? But in the air, I shouldn't close my eyes on the road, but I sure can't in the air. I just had to adjust to that really, really rapidly. And it took me, luckily you have the time in the simulator, you know, to get used to that. But because it's quite a steep learning curve, you do have to get on with it. And that took me some time, because it's also, you're used to press the buttons and do certain things with your left hand and have that fine motor control with your right, and then you have to just swap that around, and you're like, oh, so it's like your brain is working differently. But once you're used to it, it's like walk in the park, but it takes some time.
How long did it take you to become a captain?
Well, the training for a captain, the course itself is not that long. It takes a couple of months, but your whole career, you're building up to that moment. And that's why the pressure that is self-induced mostly is so high, because you're like, okay, I've been working towards this moment for such a long time, and now I have to do it. Now I have to show it. It takes years and years and years to come at that point where you're ready for the training.
How do you feel when you're flying? Someone's asked, you know, how you feel on a flight, and I know from a private pilot, the feeling of flight is like something you don't feel. But do you feel like that in a commercial environment as well?
Yeah, it's a really weird feeling, and it's a feeling that is very difficult to describe, because you're flying this metal tube, really, with lots of people that all depend on you, with 2 engines on it, and they're like, you know, you go, send them off on holiday and good luck. And then you get to that point, you know, where the engines power up and you're ready for departure, and it's the most powerful, and in a non-creepy way, of course, but it's a very powerful and surreal thing. And I feel like when you break through the clouds, you know, and then you see the sun coming out, and it's magic. I would say it's like a magic feeling.
I mean, you've got the best view, the office view, everyone says, don't they? Being a pilot, a commercial pilot, you've got the best office view. Could you ever see yourself sitting in an office and not flying? I mean...
No, I'm not at all an office person. I'm not a 9-to-5 person. I really enjoy this, even though it's also the hardest thing of flying, the shift work. I really do enjoy that no day is the same, and that you one day you're flying, you know, 4 flights up and down to Amsterdam, and then next you're going to Paphos, or you know, I really enjoy that. I'm not a 9-to-5 office girl. No, I think I'll be really bored really quickly.
Okay, a question from Louise Jones, and I'm going to link her blog in the link above and in the description below. And she's asked, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Louise is always good with her questions, isn't she? I would have told myself to believe in myself more. My parents always did. They always told me, like my sister did, my family, but it never was really, when I was young, I never did. I never did. And now, looking back, like who I am today, like now I'm really comfortable with who I am. I'm not, so of course I have my insecurities, but I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And I wish that I had that when I was younger. It would have made everything so much easier if I would have had faith in myself and not feel so insecure. Yeah.
Why was that? Why did you feel insecure? Because you've mentioned a few times that, your family were like pushing you to complete it and making you believe it. So what gave you that insecurity in the first place?
High school. I was bullied quite a lot when I was younger. And I think that that really got to me, I felt like, I'm not good enough and I can't do that, and I'm not pretty enough and I'm not, you get this, of course, all these feelings and stuff that everyone has in their teenage years. But I felt, I just felt they must be right. If they're all saying it, then they must be right. And so I guess you can say I was quite damaged, like with my self-esteem, not from my family, but purely from that. And yeah, I think that I needed to see that I could accomplish this flying school thing, to get that faith back in myself. And then I got my first job and my second job, and then it just rolled on, and you get older and you become a mom, and that all changes. Yeah, but I think the insecurity definitely comes from there.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but you couldn't tell now. I mean, you're so confident, outgoing, so, I'm really sorry about, the bullying part, but it's terrible.
No, it's at the end of the day, everything that happened in the past are things that make you who you are now. And without that, maybe I would still have those, insecurities and things and doubts and stuff. But now I don't. I know who I am. I know my strength. I know my weaknesses. And yeah.
We got quite deep then, didn't we? We got quite deep.
Yeah. That's it's good to go deep. It doesn't all have to be shallow and about the weather. It's fine.
You've frozen on me. I can't see you now. There we go.
Oh no.
Yeah. So my next question is, what's your favourite part of the job?
Favorite part of the job is that I can lead a team through a wonderful day. I have to say, like every day, no matter what happens, when I go to work, I've had a nice day. Sometimes it's tougher, one is tougher than the other, but every day is different. Every day I get to work with new people, but I have to say 99.9% of them are really wonderful and great. And yeah, I think that's the favorite part of the job, leading or like managing that team, and making it to a success no matter what life at that day throws at us. Yes.
Someone would like to know, what's the most extravagant food you've eaten on the flight deck?
Extravagant food. That's it. Well, actually, I will never forget that. In the old days, in my first company, one time I got a medium rare steak with fresh vegetables and potatoes.
Whoa.
Those were the days. I know. Yes. It went all downhill from there because there was only one way, which was downhill. But yes, that was the most extravagant thing that I ate in the flight deck. Yes, without a doubt.
What do you eat now? Do you take your own food, or do the company provide?
There's food provided for us, and which is all fresh and okay, and we share it. But I mostly take my own food. Simply because we are sitting on our bum for quite long periods of time sometimes, and then I don't want to eat pasta all the time, or white bread, or so I bring some vegetables and chicken or duck or beef and stuff I prepare, or stuff from the dinner from the night before. So yeah, I try to bring mostly my own food, but that's not always easy, and that's why it's great that it's also provided for us.
Being a mom as a pilot, how does that work?
Yeah.
Someone wants to know, how does that work in your family life, and is your employer flexible? I mean, how does that work for you?
It works really well, and mostly because my partner decided to basically let me live my dream on a work from a work point of view, and private actually. I'm really happy. So that's why it works so well. So he works from home. He does his own thing, working from home, but he has Kiki at home with him, and he's a wonderful, wonderful dad. And I was always worried. I thought, oh, if I'm going to be a mom, even before meeting him, I thought, how am I ever going to leave my child alone? Ever. But because he's so brilliant, I actually don't think twice about it anymore. Because I know that I only stay away like one night a month max, or maybe two. But for the rest, I'm home. So I try to work late. So then all morning until about 3 o'clock, I have with Kiki and with that. And then then I go to the airport, and I'm back at like 12-ish, 1. And that works really, really well for me. Then I feel like it's just let me sleep then. So when I wake up, I can like really have a bit of a lay-in. I still wake up at 7:30, but anyway, it's it's nice so that I'm rested and I can be the best mom, and then also be the best at my job. Because I don't have a job where I can go, oh, today I'm having a mega off day and I'm not feeling well, but I'm going to go anyway. That's not the kind of job I have.
And does Kiki like flying?
She loves flying, and it's really funny. She says to everyone who wants to hear it, my mommy is a captain. So that's really sweet, but I don't think she really knows what that means. She just knows that when I'm in uniform that I won't be there for a couple of hours. And she's when she was younger, she used to say at every plane, look, it's mommy flying. And now she's just like, okay, bye, and she gets on with it. It doesn't, because her father stays at home with her, it doesn't affect her. No, she gets to see me a lot, especially now in these times. Like, she's probably sick and tired of me.
Yeah, she's like, Mom, go back to work, will you?
Yeah. Woman, what are you still doing here? Yeah.
And do you have a routine for your day? So every day you go, every time you fly, do you go, right, I have coffee, I get, do you have a routine like that, or certain things?
Yes, I always go, it's only a 25-minute drive to Gatwick from here, but I always leave 1 hour 10 before I have to check in. Then I drive to the car park, and I go to the bus, take the bus to the airport, and then I always have a large cappuccino, extra shots, skinny milk, no chocolate. And then I check the flight plans and everything in the crew room, and I wait for the rest of the crew to be there. I like to be on time. If something happens, I don't like the stress of, for us, you can be late. If I'm late, it's not acceptable. So I like to be on time and not have that stress, and then look through the things, wait for the rest of the crew, and then get them together and start the day properly, like the working day.
And where's the best place that you've flown to that you'd recommend for families to go on holiday after all the lockdowns?
Well, with the lockdown now, if I would go on a holiday somewhere, I would definitely say Austria. Because Austria is such a beautiful, beautiful country. You have, for example, if you would go to Selamsee, it's within the mountains, high mountains, where you can do beautiful, beautiful walks with the family. And then you have a big lake where you can also swim in. Things that you didn't necessarily think about before that much. is healthcare. If you would get something, I would like to be in a country where that is all very well arranged, and the Austrians are, proper, clean, good professionals. So yeah, I would take my family there probably.
Sounds good. I don't normally think about going to Austria in the summer. I think Austria has been skiing, but I've seen actually some amazing footage of what it's like in the summer. So
it's wonderful in summer. We with my parents when I was young, we used to go there quite a lot, and do walks, and I just have the fondest memory of that, and coming to like a little cabin on a hill where you would have like a meat platter or a cheese platter, or the Austrian bread and Modular, which is a wonderful non-alcoholic drink they have, like a herb drink, proper from Tyrol, the area in Austria. And yes, I think that is, now is nature is so, I feel like I appreciate it more now, even more than I did. And there it's not so crowded, and it's nice with the family. It's a nice family thing, a healthy thing. Hetz is not really a massive walker, but I would, I would definitely go for that. It was my choice just now. Yeah, definitely.
Well, it sounds like a good recommendation to me. Another question from the same person, actually. This person has just recently become a mom themselves, and she's asked, what tips would you give to her, because she's become more anxious when she flies now that she's a mom? And do you have any tips for people that are anxious about flying?
Yes, you see it quite a lot, and I completely get it, that when you become a parent, that you're more nervous, and I think that's also completely normal. And for me, it's very much that knowledge is power. So the things that make you have to think, what are you actually scared of? Now, you can have very extreme answers to that question, of course, when you're in aviation, when you're in an aircraft. However, aviation is still the safest way to travel. There's only one that is safer. That's the elevator. Doesn't get you anywhere. And then there's aviation. And I think people are afraid of the things they can't explain. So turbulence, why do we have turbulence? What is this? And if you know why it is, then you don't have to be afraid of it anymore. And turbulence, that's the thing that most people are really, really terrified of, turbulence. But really, it's nothing more than a bit of wind, change in airstream, change in temperature of the air. It's nothing much. Or if the weather is a bit unstable, with the cumulonimbus, or the big white clouds that we fly around, we never fly through them. But if you fly around them as well, the unstable air around them creates turbulence. What happens with turbulence? Not much. We put the seatbelt sign on, we tighten up a bit faster, and put our full harnesses on, and we sit it out, or we climb above it. If we know, we ask the other planes around us, oh, is it better up there or better down there? And if they say, yeah, we have no problem, well, we descend. And it's I think, for everyone that is really afraid of something or wants to know something with flying, just send me a DM. Slide into my DMs and ask me, because it makes it easier if you know what you're actually afraid of. A bit of wind for a takeoff, fun for us. In the back, it can feel like, oh my goodness, we're gonna completely shake up, and how is this ever gonna? But for us, it's fun. In the storms, little less fun because it gets challenging, but still, we're trained for that. We can do that. And at the end of the day, I think it's very important to know that we all have families. We all want to, the only thing we want as pilots is to safely get from one point to another, deal with everything that gets thrown at us, and then get home get in our car and drive to our families.
Okay, last question, and you've already touched about this a little bit about Kiki and being a mom and how you juggle work, but is there a secret tip for being a mom and being away from Kiki and not feel guilty at all?
A secret tip. That sense of guilt will always be there. It will always, it never really goes away. Of course, I leave Kiki happily with her father. He's wonderful. She's going to be absolutely fine. But of course, there's always this guilt. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to always remember that you're setting an example for your child, and you're doing this also for her, that you can, no matter what life might throw at us in the future, that I will be able to provide for us and to give her a future, and the best future she can possibly have, that I can offer to her. And I hope to be an example for her, you know, for her future, that you see that if you want to be something, anything, that you can do that and you can be that. And it actually I feel like it makes me a better mom. It makes me feel good, you know, that I can do that for myself and for her, and that I hope I can be the best example possible for her.
Well, I'm sure you are. I'm sure she's you're going to be a massive inspiration to her as she's grown up. So, but thank you for joining me today. That's all our questions. I hope you've had fun. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. And I also like that I didn't know the questions before, so that I could properly think about things, and I also like that it got a bit deeper, and we, just have a chat like we've known each other forever. Well, actually, we've never seen each other.
Well, thank you for joining me today. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll include Iris's Instagram handle in the description below. And please feel free to message her and ask her little questions about aviation. You'll be happy to answer them, right?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to answer anything.
Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon. There we go. There we go.
I think you did really well, right?